A little bit too much.
First wild pitch of the year for Michael Wacha. 2-0 Rays. Infield is in for Jansen.
Field comes up. Here's a bunt put down by Jansen. Going to get the tag on him, and the run will score. So the Rays put down a couple bunts. This one Jansen out, but he picks up the run batted in.
Last chance for the Royals, Jack Caglione. Rays are this close to being 10 games over for the first time in 2 years. Lined into first base side of the infield, backhanded by Aranda. Flips to Fairbanks, and the Rays win it. The Rays get to 10 games over, 500 for the first time in 2 years, and they do it on a shutout in Kansas City.
He threw the ball really well. I mean, you just summed it up. I mean, it's 2 infield hits, a ball that gets through the infield, and 2 bunts for 3 runs. He limits a team like that. That's all they got. You know, and he got better as the game went. Threw some really good cutters. Got some really bad swings on his cutter. Fastballs, when he located it up, were really effective. And as usual, the changeup. So he threw the ball extremely well.
You mentioned the bunt single. Is that India's job to get over there and
yes.
cover first? Was he just playing the card at that
No, he knew. We just got beat. We didn't execute. They executed better than we did. He knows he has to be there.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you very much for joining us. Stephen St. John in studio. Jake Gutierrez on the other side of the glass with Deebs on this Thursday, June 26th, 2025. Yeah. All right, then. Thanks for joining us. Today we'll talk to our MLB Insider Buster Olney. That's just after 7 o'clock. And then Gary Dieter and Anthony Sherman will be with us in studio in the 8 o'clock hour. Jesse Newell is on vacation. And so in the 9 o'clock hour, Gary Dieter will hang with us, and Sherm might. But we'll at least have Dieter for a second hour, and maybe Sherm, as they eagerly fill in for Jesse Newell. So we'll make that happen for you. We've also got post-game coming up from, stop me if you heard this before, the Royals lost at home, and they couldn't score. The Royals lose again at home to Tampa. Their 9th loss in a row at Kauffman Stadium. That's 16 of their last 19 games they've lost at home. And a day after we talked quite a bit about the offense continuing to struggle, and it feels like they're at a breaking point where something's got to give, something's got to happen. They went out and responded and put up 3 hits. Knocked the ball around the park to the tune of 3 hits. Bobby Witt Jr., Michael Garcia, and Vinny Pasquantino all got hits. That's it. And that's all. That's all they could muster against Rasmussen, Kelly, Clevenger, Usita, and former Mizzou pitcher Pete Fairbanks, closer for the Rays and the Bada Bings. And we've heard Pete Fairbanks interviewed before. great interview, solid closer, and gave up nothing. So that's good. The Royals only got 3 hits. They walked 3 times, but they did strike out 10 times, so they were hacking away. It's okay. I mean, it's the same thing every day now, whenever they play at home. And so they can't score enough, 0 runs. They got to do something. And if this continues, and so the spotlight is going to be on what? On who? The hitting coach, Alex Zumwalt. That's what's next. What did Scott Sharp say yesterday? He said, it's not like this is hockey. We can't have a whole line change. We can't, swap out 9 players. And they've done a lot of swapping out. I mean, look at the lineup last night. They've added Jack Caglione. They've added Nick Lofton. They've added John Rave. Drew Waters pinch hit. He was called up. And they've continued to churn the bottom half of the lineup. But there's the same results over and over again. And so here we go. Here we go down the road again. What are the options? Try to be aggressive, recognize that they desperately need help offensively, be bold, and go out and acquire a bat. Decide that, hey, you know what? It's not working out this year. This is still a very good nucleus, but we need to perhaps sell a couple of veterans who aren't in our long-term plans and try to load up and gear up for next year, for 2026 and beyond. So there's 2 options right there. Option number 3, do nothing. I don't like that option. That would be what I like least. Do nothing. You can't sit on your hands, your thumbs, or anything else that you sit on. And then, Jake, option 4 is make a move with the coaching staff. Go in a different direction with your hitting coach. And I'm just going to be honest with you, I don't know how much of an impact that could have in season. Now, you can't stick with them. I think if you ask me, I think the writing's on the wall for the offseason, and they're going to have to go in a different direction.
I feel like that seems like almost inevitable at this point in time unless there's some kind of massive turnaround.
But that ain't doing nothing for anyone on Thursday, June 26th.
No. But that kind of feels like the front office's MO. Like that's the route they would. I don't know if they'd make an in-season change. They might.
It's so bad. It's not okay. It's not a struggling offense. It's not a below average offense. It's one of the worst offenses in all of baseball.
Yeah.
It's taking a dramatic and shocking step backwards.
They're like in the bottom 3 of almost every major category.
The lack of power is stunning. The lack of ability to hit with runners in scoring position is stunning.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of scoring is stunning.
Right.
The lack of production in their home ballpark is stunning. A huge step back from last year. Well, they were okay last year.
It's almost stunning that they're even relevant in the wild card.
Because of the pitching.
Right.
And they're not okay this year. Bad, bad, bad. So you've got all that on the table. And again, I don't know what they're going to do. You heard Scott Sharp yesterday. He said, the team asked to give him a reason to go out there and make a move. He also said they can't swap out the whole roster. And so he said a lot of interesting things yesterday. If you want to go listen to the podcast at 810WHB.com or on the app. But this is where they got to, use it or lose it. You got to prove it now. They got to do something, but they're not. And so it's like I feel like I'm just ramming my head against the wall over and over again every day. The offense isn't good enough. The offense isn't good enough. And even Scott Sharp said yesterday, look, we're almost halfway through the season. This is no longer a small sample size. It is what it is, and it's not good enough. So I don't know what they're going to do, but there's multiple paths they could take. The other thing that he said, he talked about players like Seth Lugo, and he talked about a group of players right now that they have where the window is short, and they need to capitalize on it. And so what's the strength of pitching? We've already seen how volatile that is with the injury to Cole Reagans. But they're not going to have Lugo and Waka and Bubic all together for much longer. And I know, and you don't think about Bubic in that same group as Lugo and Waka. They got to make a decision on Bubic soon. They don't have him for much longer. They're going to have to make a decision of whether to extend him or to try to move him while he's still got value. So that's another fork in the road, and they got to decide which way they're going to go. And so, look, if you sit and tell me, damn it, they've got this pitching staff. And another thing Scott said, he goes, you look at the team, and you got to believe with that starting pitching, you'd have a chance to beat anyone in a 5-game series. But here's the deal. You lose to anyone in a series because your offense is terrible. And so do they look at it and think, you know what, our window's now, there's tremendous value in making the playoffs back-to-back years. Let's give them another weapon. Let's get another bat and see if that sparks things. Or do they say, you know what, no. We can't force a square peg into a round hole. This is not a tear down and rebuild. This is okay. You know what? We just need to regroup and reload and come back and be real contenders in 2026. And they could do that by trading a couple of key pieces for, I don't know, a bat or two that will be ready to roll in 2026. Not an 18-year-old Venezuelan with high upside. I don't know why. Dominican, American, Canadian, Frenchman.
Well, they have some Venezuelan guys.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Prospect.
Garcia, Salvi, they're Venezuelan.
But Ed, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, not really interested in trading veterans for pieces that may develop and come up in 3 or 4 years. If they're, you know what? I'm okay with them if they decide to trade a couple of pieces for a bat, a bullpen arm, things that will help them as soon as the second half of the year, and for sure 2026. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Regroup and reload, not rebuild, because that would be ridiculous. But I'm tired of this rerun every day. Royals lose, can't score, can't win at home. See you at the ballpark tomorrow. Oh, by the way, after one more game against the Rays, here comes the Dodgers. And Jake, this is my insight into what's happening. Just my baseball savvy. You have to score some runs to beat the Dodgers. You're going to have to. And it seems like the Royals are unwilling to do that. So what happens, I don't know. But you've got some choices. I mean, look, Waka, that was a Quality start. 6 innings, 3 runs, 9 hits, but 9 strikeouts. Cruz, Lynch, and Clark, 3 innings of shutout ball. And it's just not even close to being good enough to give them a chance to win because the Royals didn't score. So, 3-0 feels like they got blown out.
8-0.
It feels like it was a blowout.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Royals lose 3-0.
Might as well have been 8-0.
Okay? No. Sure. What?
you're right.
5-0.
Right.
8-0. 2-0. 4-0. Great. Back at it again today. 1:10 in the afternoon. So it should be a nice, comfortable afternoon at a Kauffman Stadium. What's the? How hot it's going to be? I don't even want to look. Let's see.
It's going to feel like 1,000.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that.
It'll be about 90 degrees.
Oh, good.
It'll probably feel like about 97.
A nice, comfortable afternoon of not scoring runs.
Apparently severe storm risks today.
Michael Lorenzen on the mound against Shane Baz for the Rays.
Looks like we're going to have some storms tonight.
Okay. All right, then. Thank you.
Good thing they're playing a day game.
Also,
Especially cold, okay. But the big question on everybody's lips.
Yeah, they're chapped lips.
On their chapped lips,
Chapped
right.
lips.
Do you think Phil's gonna come out and see a shadow?
Punxsutawney Phil.
That's right, woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day.
Is that today?
Get up and
No.
I
It
mean,
feels like it, right?
I don't
Royals
know.
offense every day.
I guess I'm not even. I'm moving on. Good joke, I get it, but I just
It's
I'm not. You sure? Yeah, it does.
Right.
Same thing over and over again. So, let me pass along some info to you. I talked to a couple of people that are very close to the situation last night, and you know how I feel about the stadium issue.
you can't get
It's
enough of it.
dragged on. No, I'm actually extremely interested and fascinated about what's going to happen now because it feels like
We're closer.
something's about ready to happen.
All right.
It feels like we're at the point where
The
we're
precipice.
going to find something out now.
I love hearing that.
And I am actually very interested in, well, like I've always said, I've grown weary of the process and of the winds of change where you hear one thing on Monday and then you talk to someone else on Tuesday and then it's completely different on Wednesday. And I mean, Todd Lebo knows as much about this as anybody. And I listened to him talk to people on the phone in the office. We were having a conversation about it the other day in his office. And he's just like, well, that's what I'm hearing today. Check back with me tomorrow. And I'll probably hear something different. And so I talked to a couple of people, really, really, really good people that are close to the situation that I trust. And this is what I was told. And I don't know how you're going to feel about this, Jake, but this is, I think this is, again, on Thursday, June 26th, if you ask me what I think is going to happen based on what I was told last night, this is what I was told. That there's a very high confidence that the Chiefs are going to stay put where they are and renovate. And that's where Arrowhead is going to be where Arrowhead is. Now, what they'll do with the rest of the Truman Sports Complex, that's up to the Chiefs. And we'll see what happens. And that's going to be fascinating. And what a renovation will look like. But the people I talked to, very high confidence level that the Chiefs stay in Jackson County, that the Chiefs renovate and Arrowhead will be where it is.
And I think all along that's how I've felt pretty strong about that happening. No matter what I read or hear, it's like I just my gut feeling has always been the Chiefs will stay at Arrowhead. So hearing that, I'm good with that.
As far as the Royals, again, Asperia, just up, out here in 119th out in Overland Park, or North Kansas City. And so this is again, it can be frustrating, but it's also a window into what the Royals are doing and how, let's be honest, just playing both sides of it. One person that I talked to felt very strongly that they're going to pick North Kansas City. The other person I talked to was leaning strongly towards the Asperia campus out here in Overland Park. The third person I talked to said, well, it's 50-50. It could go either way, but we're going to find out something soon. And after, I would say an hour or, no longer than an hour, after about an hour and a half, 2 hours of exchanging text messages and making a couple of phone calls, that's where we've landed. That's where we are right now. Jake, if you and Deebs corner me in the commercial break and say, okay, what's going to happen? What's the latest information you've heard? My answer is the Chiefs stay put and renovate. Arrowhead stays where it is. And the Royals are either going to go to North Kansas City or go out here to Overland Park to the Asperia campus, and we're going to find out very soon. So there you go. I was also told that the Royals met with Clay County yesterday. I know the Royals met with Clay County yesterday. I'll just go ahead and put that out there.
And that would be North Kansas City.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't you know your Northland counties? You've lived there for so long.
I think I do.
No, you don't.
I think I know.
You might.
Because of you.
Yeah.
I learned it because of watching you.
Right. Well, you've learned a lot of things by watching me. Many of those we will not talk about on the air. So how do you feel when I tell you that?
I think I feel slight disappointment that downtown baseball isn't in the mix, but
do you feel satisfied with Arrowhead staying where it is?
yeah. But like I said, like that I never felt strongly that they were going to move.
Okay, so that's not compelling to you because that's what you thought it was going to be,
right?
And so I lay out to Kauffman Stadium to the Royals. If those are the two, it's down to those two options, and we're in the
Please give me North Kansas.
And we're
City.
in the 11 o'clock hour. What do you want?
I want North Kansas City. I want it in North Kansas City.
All right.
Because that's probably as close. I mean, it's closer to downtown, right? So
yes,
it's kind of like downtown baseball.
I'm going to tell you, people in Johnson County and in South Johnson County have this ridiculous idea of where North Kansas City is.
It's just on the other side of the river.
I've heard some people say, I'm not driving out to the airport to watch the Royals. I go, no, nobody is.
That's Kansas City, Missouri.
No one is. That no one's driving out to the airport. You know what you'll drive out to the airport for? To get on a plane and go someplace. Well, it's north. I go, seriously. I've had this. I like, let's sit down and let's look at a map. Right. You want to do that?
North Kansas City is just on the other side of the river.
Yes.
It's just right across the river.
You can see downtown.
Right.
It's not.
So, I mean,
it's very close.
Right.
A couple of minutes.
And that's why I say, a
couple of minutes.
Yeah. Yes. So I root for that.
But, again, I'm not going to be surprised if it's out here at the Aspire campus, and I'm not going to be surprised if it's North Kansas City. Because let me tell you something. Right now, both camps think they get that it's going to be them. And one of them's going to be wrong. But that's how the Royals have been handling it. But what if the Royals have told you? They're doing whatever they can to secure the best deal. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're negotiating.
I don't think they've,
Okay?
they
And
haven't
again,
been shy about letting that be known.
I was told that they met with Clay County yesterday.
Go Clay County.
So we'll see.
I'm rooting for Clay County.
That's the latest information I have. We'll take a break. Back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. when you hear this hard rockin' music, when you hear Metallica, then you know Todd Lebo is on the line. Todd, how do you like it that this is your theme music? What do you say?
I've always loved it. Always.
You do love it, don't you?
I do love it. It's one of the greatest American rock bands of all time. Let's go.
That's right. I sign off on that.
Sign off.
Jake, do you?
I do.
Okay.
There's
All right
some
then.
kind of big music festival they're playing at in England with Ozzy Osbourne and.
Yeah, Lebo's flying out there.
I think they play. I think there's something going on there. They go to Donington, and I think Ozzy's about. They're doing some final thing with Ozzy.
Yeah. There's some kind, and I mean, the Guns N' Roses I think are playing. I think Metallica, bunch of some super band with.
Well, let's all go.
Billy Corgan and Tom Morello.
Oh.
I'm done traveling overseas.
No, you're not.
Right now, I'm gonna be done for a while.
No.
Why? It seems like a perfect time to go.
And we're gonna have you fly back wherever you fly, and then fly right to Omaha and drive home. Okay. So Todd Lebo, I was talking about the stadium issues.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize that's still
coming soon.
Right.
Right.
And so if you would, and I basically just said that the people that I talked to that are very close to the situation, that have offered nothing but good information, told me that that they feel very strongly, very confident that the Chiefs are staying where they are and are going to renovate and stay in Jackson County, so the Arrowhead will be where it's at. And how they'll do it and what they'll do with it, that's another story. But the Chiefs are not going anywhere. But for the Royals, it's coming down to either Clay County, North Kansas City, or the Hesperia campus, which we've talked about quite a bit, and we should know something soon. But it's there, and I was also told that the Royals, the representatives, met with Clay County representatives yesterday, and so one person I talked to leans towards North Kansas City, other person I talked to leans towards the Hesperia campus. What have you heard?
Well, I think the thing I'm most sure of is the Chiefs are going to renovate Arrowhead Stadium. And that probably is going to disappoint a lot of people because people were not excited about the renovation renderings, which, by the way, that was 2 years ago that they unveiled, right? Over 2 years ago. It kind of fell flat. They had just won the Super Bowl. They came back. They had this press conference, big press conference. I mean, they had it down in the Hall of Fame. I've never done a press conference down in the Hall of Fame. They had all these renderings and all this stuff. They were all excited about it, and then people saw them, and they were like, womp, womp.
Those renderings did not spark joy.
It did not. And that was
that really 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
No way. I thought it was right before the vote. Wasn't the vote last year?
The vote was you're right. My bad.
Last November.
18 months ago. Yeah, the vote was in April.
Oh, you're right.
A year ago.
You're both right.
Hey.
A year ago. And so this was February probably 15, 16 months ago. It's very confusing how long this has gone, honestly.
right.
And can I tell you,
point.
It feels like it's gone on for 17 years. How about that?
It's crazy because it was about this time 2 years ago that the Royals. I went to a press conference out there where they showed us renderings of East Village and in Clay County, and they said we're going to pick from one of these two places. And then they said in September we're going to pick from one, and then they didn't pick, and then it went on, and then by the time we got to about the same time, February, they said, look here, this is the crossroads, and this is where we're going to vote on. So it's been this like this way. But I think the thing I'm most sure of is the Chiefs are staying. And I think you're right, Stephen. I think the Royals are down to two things. I think they're down to, if it's Kansas, it's the Hesperia campus, where we know about over a month ago a group, an LLC affiliated in some way with some of the Royals ownership group, purchased a debt from the company that is developing or who had bought Hesperia from T-Mobile, and they renamed it Hesperia. And they have a lot of people working in there now, and they've got a new deal worked out with that company called Fiserv, which is some sort of a tech company that that's the Fiserv Arena where the Milwaukee Bucks play. It's a Milwaukee company, and they've got some things signed. 2,000 employees are going to come work down there. Okay, well, that's a lot of people going to that place. But the Royals bought the debt on that because the people who bought it for what they thought was a steal, and then the pandemic happened, and people didn't want office space, and all those things kind of went down. So they have bought that, not the Royals, but some people affiliated with the Royals. And we know that Merriman family is the group that owns the entire chunk up in the Northland, because you and I have gone on a tour up there. They've got great plans for that, and they had renderings of it. The Royals did. They just didn't what they ended up voting on. So I think the Royals are done with Jackson County, Missouri. I think they're just done with them. I think they've had enough of Frank White in the county legislature. I don't think they want to fight through the Parks Department to turn Washington Square Park into something else. I mean, these things are all doable, but it just is so much harder, right? I think they're looking for a little easier path than what it's been in downtown Kansas City. So I think I would put a slight lead on Jackson County or Johnson County right now, but I don't think Clay County is going to go down without a fight, and that's why they're meeting with them. And so now the Royals are playing like what we talked about for years. Why would you say you just want to build a stadium in downtown Kansas City and not pit these entities against each other? And now they're pitting them against each other. They're trying to work out deals with either Johnson County in the state of Kansas or Clay County in the state of Missouri, because we just saw that the special session go a couple weeks ago and finally got that thing through down there. That stuff is all. I know it just drives people crazy. People have had enough of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Fatigue is set in for everyone.
Yeah.
And
we're not even really going through it. This
Right.
has got to be super frustrating for the people behind who really want these things to happen in point A, B, or C, and they think they've got it. There's no. This is like recruiting. There's no second place prize. You either get the stadium or you don't. You either get the player or you don't. So someone's going to come in second place, and there's no silver medal for that. You just don't get a stadium.
So I think that something. This is more of from a PR perspective. It from the perspective of the state of Missouri or Jackson County. It would be looked upon as a disaster if they lost both teams. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so. But for a long time, it would be looked upon as a disaster if they lost one team. But then we went through this stretch of time where it looked like maybe they were going to lose both teams. But now, if this plays out the way we think, and let's just say the Royals go to Johnson County and the Chiefs stay put, then they can say we saved the Chiefs. We still got the Chiefs. And they could come out looking better than they would have had that been the result 18 months ago. You know what I mean? It's like it's all perspective.
Summer, when Kansas passed the Star Bonds last summer and Missouri hadn't done anything, I mean, my opinion on this has changed weekly.
Yes. Right?
And I may change by later today when I'm in there.
Please don't.
You know what I mean? But the last summer, this time, because this is when they passed the Star Bonds, because it was in June, and then they basically said they're good for a year. And we're like, well, this is just done. Missouri can't get their ducks in a row. Now, it did take an entire 11 months and a special session in Missouri for Missouri to come up with something that's going to make a decision for these teams, franchises, to do something. So it's been a long process, and like I said, I think a lot of people are done with it. They don't care, and I think there's a whole bunch of people who don't want any money to go to these teams. You're billionaires. There's a big part of the population that's like, wait a second, everything costs more money right now. I don't think we should be giving money directly or indirectly through a straight sales tax like happens in Jackson County for part of the things that happen on the renovation, because the teams did pay some on their own, or for the state of Missouri, which is just shuffling money around. It's coming from the people. All the money down there comes from the people in some way. So there's a whole lot of people who don't want anything going to these teams. But that's just the way it works in a state like in cities like the size of Kansas City, people don't go do this stuff and just build it all themselves. So, I mean, no one's probably going to be happy at the end of this. That's the ugly part about it, because no one's going to be entirely happy, because whatever's going to happen, you're going to leave some people sour on one side or the other. But that's, I guess, the beauty of a state line.
I guess the final question that I have for you before we let you go and are you coming into work? You want to work out? Where are you going first?
Gonna eat breakfast with my dad.
Oh, all right.
Then I'll be.
What's on the menu?
Well, we go to the neighborhood cafe in downtown Lee Summit. I'll probably get the eggs. Then a choice of meat.
Right.
How do you get your eggs? Sunny side up?
I get them over easy or over medium.
Over easy.
What's your dad get?
Over easy usually.
Yeah, like runny.
We took me and Richie and Phil took my dad to K-Pot yesterday. Well, let me tell you something. Steve St. John Sr. was suffering from the meat sweats when we dropped him off at home.
By the way,
he went through it.
Your pop slid into my DMs on Instagram
did
last
he?
night.
I'm sure that he did. Yeah.
Some nice back and forth.
Wow.
Oh boy, what a surprise!
Hey, tread lightly, easy there. All right. No. Don't let him get you in trouble. Hey, so Lee, before I let you go, so then, and again, I don't know if you have an answer to this, but so maybe people are looking at Monday where we'd hear something. When do you think we're actually going to hear what the decision is?
Deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the 30th deadline, and we've said Kansas can. They can extend their deadline on the star bonds, but I don't think they want to. And I think, honestly, at this point, if the Royals are going to move to Kansas, they don't want to make them go and have some sort of a session and do that. I think the Royals want to get their decision done by then. Now, the Chiefs, if they're staying in Jackson County, they don't have to make an announcement, I don't think, by then just says they're doing that, because that deadline's not out there. They could tell Kansas, hey, we're not coming. But then the decision would be made. You'd know what was happening. But I think so. I mean, I think at this point it's gone so poorly on the Royals front on getting decisions and making choices and all that stuff. I think it would be more bad form if they end up like, hey, give us another week.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think it would be bad. So I think we'll find something out soon.
How about this? Do you think any chance Clark Hunt just gets in front of a microphone and says this?
I'm staying.
A la Roy Williams, you know.
I don't know. I would have seen him get in front of a microphone.
Right.
I saw him 2 weeks ago at a World Cup thing, and he wasn't available to comment.
Oh, Todd.
I'm staying.
Todd Lebo, thank you so much for the time. Say hello to your father for me, would you please?
All right. I'll see you guys in an hour and a half.
All right. Have a good breakfast. That's Todd Lebo.
Be safe out there, Todd.
That's right. Likes his eggs over easy, in case you're wondering. We'll take a break. Back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the show. This is a segment we call Producer's Choice. Jake,
Oh, wow.
after the Royals lost again at home, this time 3-0,
Oh, wow.
should we hear from Matt Quatrero or Bobby Witt Jr.?
Oh.
Producer's Choice.
You want me to be honest here? I don't think either one of them say anything.
Okay.
But let's go with Q.
Is there okay, or do we go with Jack Caglione
Oh,
or
he
Michael?
says absolutely nothing.
Okay, Michael Waka.
I haven't fully listened to Waka, but let's go with Q.
Okay, Matt Quatrero, the manager.
If it's my pick, I'm going with Q.
Well, such tremendous confidence in the pick as well.
I mean,
Let's
look,
hear.
none of these guys are saying anything.
They're
what
also
can
not
they say?
hitting anything.
Right.
Let's hear from Matt Quatrero after the not a joke, not a rim shot, just a fact. I'm surprised Matt Quatrero just didn't start talking about the stadiums. You know,
Be probably more
that
interesting.
changed the subject. Let's hear from Matt Quatrero after the Royals lost 3-0 last night to the Rays.
He threw the ball really well. I mean, you just summed it up. I mean, it's 2 infield hits, a ball that gets through the infield, and 2 bunts for 3 runs. He limits a team like that. That's all they got. You know, and he got better as the game went. Threw some really good cutters. Got some really bad swings on his cutter. Fastballs, when he located it up, were really effective. And as usual, the changeup. So he threw the ball extremely well.
You mentioned the bunt single. Is that India's job to get over there and
Yes.
cover first? Was he just playing the card at that
No, he
point?
knew. We just got beat. We didn't execute. They executed better than we did. He knows he has to be there.
What did you think of the quality of the bats against Drew Rasmussen today?
I mean, not good enough, right? I mean, he shut us out. He's very good. We know that. He had good stuff. He located it. Again, it's one of those things right now. When we hit the ball hard, it's to somebody. Otherwise, we're not squaring it up in the opportunities where we need to.
Do you feel like there could be a little bit of, maybe over-aggressiveness first pitch swing sometimes from a couple of guys in the lineup?
There is not one answer to. Sometimes you take and you're behind 0-1. These guys get ahead. That's what they do. They have good stuff. If you want to be behind, you can take that pitch or you can try to do something with it. The issue is you got to square it up.
Matt, what's your sense of morale, if any, anything in the room as things have been going?
Nobody's happy in there. I mean, you want to win, and that we say that all the time. You show up here to win every game you play. You prep, you work, you prepare, you go out there and you compete, and they do. We just haven't won enough games lately.
And do you feel there's a sense now, not just being unhappy, but actually just down a little?
No. No. If they were down, they wouldn't compete. They compete like crazy. Every guy in there wants to win. Every guy in there is a professional. There is no one hanging their head or feeling sorry for themselves. We're just not capitalizing when we need to.
3-run lead isn't insurmountable, but when you get down, when the offense is going the way that it's going right now, and you get down to an early deficit, what is the feeling like at that point?
Get back in the game. Put good at-bats together and get back in the game, and that's what we were trying to do.
Overall, what was your read on Jack Caglione's diving catch in right field?
Great play. Jack played a really good right field today. He made some good throws. He went to the right once, went to the left for the diving play, caught the ball on the foul line. He had a really good game in right field.
Jalen asked about the aggressiveness. I wonder if it stands out more when you do get the few opportunities you have, guys on base, and then first pitch it's an out, it's pop up, things like that. I mean, does that make it stand out a little bit more?
Well, if that's a hit, we're saying that's a great at bat. So it's a results-based game. So because we didn't get the hit, it looks bad. But if somebody takes a first pitch and hits it off the wall for a double or even a rollover base hit, everybody thinks that's great. So it doesn't matter what pitch you hit if you do something good with it.
Is that a game plan against these guys too? Because this team is so aggressive, in the zone, especially on the first pitch?
Every hitter's got a different approach, different game plan. I mean, you can swing at the first pitch and miss it, be 0-1. You can take it, be 0-1. You can try to do something with it. Again, it's just a matter of squaring the ball up, and when we're not squaring it up, it looks bad.
I just think against the Rays, just because of tendency to.
Well, there isn't a pitcher in baseball that doesn't want to get ahead.
Right.
They're very effective at it.
Look, no manager's comments sound good after losing, but every Mancochero press conference these days starts off with, "Boy, the opposing pitcher threw the ball really well." Like, huh? Boy, that guy's got really good stuff. Huh? Boy, he was really on tonight. Huh. Okay. Seems like the Royals are facing Cy Young every night, which is odd. We'll take a break. Buster only after this. More baseball. Yay! On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
with SSJ is presented by Walker Medical Linen Services, locally owned and operated. HLAC certified to the highest medical laundry standards. Walker has partnerships with hospitals, surgery centers, and medical clinics in and around the metro area. Walker Medical Linen Services in Kansas City and online at walkermls.com.
Welcome back to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Stephen St. John and Jake Gutierrez. And right now we have Buster Olney, our baseball insider from ESPN on the show. Buster, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Looking forward to the home run derby. The field starts to take shape.
Are you looking forward to seeing if the Royals want to score runs at any point soon?
Oh, man. 4 runs, 4 straight losses in those 4 games. Yeah, I was thinking about this morning, Steve, when if you had come into the year with a list of, what needs to go right, what could go wrong, man, they have checked every box on what could go wrong. From Salvi, having a down year. Jonathan India certainly has not had the impact that the team hoped for when they traded for him. Caglione has had growing pains, which we thought might be the case, which is why I think it was good to call him up and get some clarity on him. And that offense in the outfield, it just hasn't gotten better. They're at the bottom of all the key statistics, home runs, on base percentage for outfield, and it's not close. Like, it just hasn't gotten better.
Well, right now, yes, they're struggling to score runs, but what's even more bizarre, they've lost 9 in a row at home and 16 of their last 19 at home.
Wow.
And nobody can really figure out why. Because when they went on the road last week and they swept Texas, I'm thinking, okay, all right, they're going to turn things around. And then they lost 2 or 3 to the Padres. They come home, they just start losing again. It's like I said, 9 in a row at home. And we're getting dangerously close to the time where they need to decide what to do. We talked to Scott Sharp yesterday. J.J. Piccolo spoke to the media 2 days ago, said he's still open-minded. But Scott Sharp told us, look, the team has to go out and perform to a level that suggests we can be aggressive and go out and add something. But there's 2 schools of thought here, and we talked about this in the 6 o'clock hour. Do you have this belief that the team's still going to turn it around and right now go out, be aggressive, and add a bat and help spark this team that you still believe is a playoff contender? And Scott Sharp said yesterday, there's a window for some of these players. There's a window for some of these pitchers. This rotation's not going to be together for much longer. And so do you do that? Or do you decide to trade a couple of veterans and not rebuild, but just reload for next year? I don't think they're going to stand pat. That's what I don't want them to do. But, Buster, what should they do? What are you hearing? What do you think is the right path right now for the Royals?
So it calls to mind, as you described it, calls to mind that famous line from Shawshank Redemption, which is, get busy living or get busy dying.
That's right.
Where, that is kind of where they are. Like, at this point, they either have to move forward or they have to retreat. But the worst thing to do is just to, continue to do the same thing and hope for different results because it's not working. That's pretty clear. So, if they plow ahead and they get busy living, let's just play that out. There are not a lot of options in the market right now. You could go out and try to make a trade, but as you and I have talked about in recent weeks, there's just not that much out there, right? The Chicago White Sox have Andrew Benintendi, and they're saying, hey, he's owed $40 million for the next 2.5 years. We're really need a lot of money, but because the market is so thin, the White Sox can treat him as if he's a valued member in the seller's market. And that price probably will be pretty high. And are you sure that he's actually going to make a difference? You can call teams that have, veteran outfield depth that hasn't worked out. I'm thinking of actually a guy you'll see this weekend, Michael Conforto of the Dodgers. He hit a home run last night, but generally speaking, it hasn't been a good year for him. So maybe you call the Dodgers, who have a glut of players right now. At some point, they might decide to move past Conforto, who's on a one-year contract, and you make a move there. Maybe you call the Atlanta Braves about Alex Verdugo. Depth. They got Jurickson Profar coming off the injured list, or excuse me, the suspension list on July 2nd. Maybe that guy's available. None of those potential solutions are necessarily going to help you, but I do wonder if there's also they're in a situation where you got to send a message to your team that, hey, you know what, we're going to be trying things. The front office is going to be trying. The best example that I remember of that in 2021, Ronald Acuña Jr. blew out his knee in a game in late June, and Alex Anthopoulos, the general manager of the Braves, told me later, he said, I just needed to do something. I needed to send a message to our guys that we're still trying, we're still going to try to win. And they traded for Stephen Vogt, who's the backup catcher, older backup catcher at that time. They traded for Jock Peterson, shortly thereafter. And I don't think Alex had any expectation that they were necessarily going to get better. But his feeling was, I got to do something, right? Because if you're not moving forward, then you're moving backward. And that's kind of where the Royals are. I checked the Fangraphs this morning, and their playoff chances are down to 14%. They are 3.5 games out of a wild card spot, but there are 4 teams in front of them. They would have to leapfrog to get to that spot. So, yeah, Shawshank Redemption.
Buster Olney is our guest, and Buster, it's again, I won't be surprised, whatever path they take, but the bottom line is they need to produce, and they need to do something to fix the offense, whether it's add a bat, whether it's change course with the hitting coach, who knows how much that impact that could have in season. One example I wanted to ask you about, the Tigers last year. Remember they traded Jack Flaherty, and people thought, oh, they're waving the white flag, but then they had a hell of a second half and went to the playoffs, and then they brought him back. And so is that? I mean, the Royals, I could see them doing something like that, where hey, let's trade a piece to help and get something back that can help us now and in 2026, and who knows, down the road, if it's Seth Lugo or someone like that, there could be a reunion.
Seth Lugo is the obvious candidate because of his contractual situation. He's having another great year, second in the Cy Young Award last year, and he holds a $15 million player option for next year, which means that one way or the other, the Royals probably need to get some idea of what's going to happen with him. And I would assume that they may have begun having some of these internal conversations of, okay, what is Seth Lugo worth? What's a good offer for him? And maybe this is an opportunity where you have the conversation with his representative and say, hey, what about a contract extension? They give you the numbers that they're looking for, and maybe those numbers don't work for you, for a 35-year-old starting pitcher. And so what you could do at that point is maybe you work out a deal, and if the numbers are too far beyond where you want to go, then you put them out in a really thin trade market, and you go from being rather than being a buyer and seller, you become an opportunist, and you take advantage of the fact that the New York Mets desperately need starting pitching right now, and the Yankees could probably use somebody, and the Dodgers this weekend, they could probably use somebody in that rotation, and you get value in return, and that helps you. And you're right, that's what happened with the Tigers last year. They had some of the younger guys start to come back from the injured list, like Riley Green, and they clicked, and they started to hit. And I don't think that's out of the question.